rolling. We can start with roll call. Is Alder Stoyer there? And can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you. Okay, Alder Stoyer is here.
Okay. Alder Stoyer, we can start with roll call.
Okay. Welcome to Protection and Policy Committee for May 26, 2020. First thing here, we have roll call. Alder Stoyer, I'm here. Alder Stevens. Here. Alder LaFave.
Here.
Alder Vanderleest.
Here.
All present and accounted for. Approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
First, Alder Stoyer, first we were going to discuss setting the alternate committee times.
All right. That sounds good.
Yes.
All right. Excuse me. All right. I know we've had a little bit of issue with this. It seems like our committee is the one committee that has to bounce around a little bit. And, you know, the times that were brought forward for June 8th, June 22nd, July 13th, and August 10th was at 12:30 p.m. Am I correct on that?
Yes, I believe that was what everyone was agreeing to.
Okay. I'll ask Alder Vanderleest, is this something that you can work with?
Well, here's the problem. I'd like to see the meeting time go back to, you know, so the public can join in our meetings more easily. How long are we going to have these Zoom meetings? Let me ask you that. How long do you think it's going to be?
I think that's one of the issues, because we're not totally sure. You know, this is a temporary thing in my mind, but you know, until we can get a definite feel for it.
And have our meeting at 5:30.
Well, I'd love to have it at 5:30. You know, I think we all would.
You know, it's a lot. I think it's a lot more convenient.
Well, the problem is, John, that we have other meetings that conflict with that, and you know, too, that conflicts with it. So we're kind of
meeting to 4 o'clock. Let me ask you that. Can we move it to 4 o'clock?
I'll entertain the other committee members chiming in on that. Anybody else?
Alder
I'm
LaFave.
flexible. Go ahead.
Yeah. On the 8th, I have a 8:30 Water Commission, so that might run a little bit. I don't know how long it would be. Probably not a problem, you know, for 12:30, but 12:30 is fine for me, but if 4 o'clock is also fine.
Alder, if I can, I'm sorry, if I could chime in really quickly. Unfortunately, yes. 4 o'clock, with the situation that we're in with having, and this alternate schedule is just for as we are continuing the Zoom meetings, and the public is still, City Hall is still closed to the public. So 4 o'clock doesn't work because on many of the nights or many of the days that PMP is slated, Landmarks Commission meets at 4:30, and also Plan Commission meets at 6. And the difficulty is that Plan Commission is noticed publicly months in advance due to public hearings on zoning issues and variance issues. And so that meeting is not flexible and cannot be moved. And unfortunately, our agendas have been heavy as of late, and they may continue being on the heavier side, particularly with liquor licensing renewals and issues moving forward. And unfortunately, if we had a start time at 4, it would conflict with Plan Commission, and we would more likely than not run into Plan Commission. And in the Zoom meeting format, we're unable to simultaneously stream these meetings at the same time. So when we're back to in-person meetings, we can certainly go back to the 5:30 start time, which the committee agreed to at the beginning of this term. However, unfortunately, with Zoom meetings proceeding, at least for the foreseeable future, we would need to start at 12:30 or 1 o'clock at the latest in order to be able to wrap up in time for Land Commission to Landmarks Commission to begin, and then for that meeting to wrap up for Plan Commission to start at 6.
Let me ask you a question, ma'am.
Yes.
When is City Hall going to open up?
That we don't know. I know that that's something that the mayor's office and senior staff are working on, and I'm sure the mayor's office will be updating the council as soon as.
I'd like to see the city hall open up in June, for sure.
Sure.
I think it
As far as I know,
Alder LaFave.
yes.
Go ahead.
What about Thursdays? Are there meetings on Thursdays?
Thursday,
Yes.
there are
Elections.
meetings on Thursdays. However, the difficulty with doing protection and policy on Thursday is that our meetings immediately precede council. And in order for the report and the minutes to be prepared in time
Okay.
to appear on the council agenda for Tuesday, that we don't have committee meetings, standing committees that occur on Thursdays.
Can I just say one other thing and then I'll step out? Why don't we just keep the meeting for June and then if they open City Hall, then we can get back to our 5:30 meetings. That'd be fine with me. Could we make it at 1 o'clock for our next meeting then at 1 o'clock? Would that work out for everybody?
Well,
And
June 8th.
basically, once we get out of these meetings, then we go back to our regular meeting at 5:30. That would,
Well, it's tentatively June 8th and June 22nd. Is that what you're looking at then, committee? I'm good with 1 o'clock.
I'm hoping they're going to be open in City Hall before the 28th, but let's go with the June 8th meeting for 1 o'clock. And then we'll take the 28th one as we
Well-
see, as it goes. I'm sure we're going to be open by then.
I don't know. Alder Stevens, did you have a comment on that? My other phone's ringing here. I'm sorry. Anyway, John, we've been working really hard on this, and I know that City Hall is closed. We can't really do a whole lot. Our committee's kind of tied. There's a lot of others that have back-to-back agendas, and they can work it out, but we're kind of stuck. And I know you want to open City Hall, but my feeling would be, if you had a chance to actually look at your schedule far enough in advance, I don't see why those 4 days would be a problem.
Let's just move to 4 days that we're talking about, and then City Hall open.
If it
quickly, we
changes.
can change it.
Yes, exactly. I'm looking at it. Let's keep
do
it
that.
1 o'clock. Would 1 o'clock work for everybody?
Yeah.
It'll work for me.
And I would suggest 1 o'clock for all 4 dates, and then if something changes where we can move those other meetings, we'll do it at that time. Okay?
Thank you, Mark.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mark,
Yes.
I'd also like to say that we did have two other alders that word in case one of us cannot make a P&P, they would step in.
Right. Well, that's great. I appreciate Alder Scanlon, Alder Dorf being there for that. Thank you very much. Okay. Are we good with that? Attorney Bungert?
Yes.
Alder Stoyer, if I
Yes.
could. I
Yes,
wasn't
go ahead.
part of that conversation, Alder Scannell or Alder Dorf, but Council President, if you need me to fill into a meeting, I'd be willing to do so as well.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. We'll move forward. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
By Stevens. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Vanderleest. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passes. Approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, well, we'll let Vanderleest got in there second. Is that all right? Alder LaFave for a second?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. All right, regular business. Attorney Bungert, I'm on my iPhone, so I'm not going to be able to vote via the computers, so I'll have to do verbal myself. I'm going to have to work.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Regular business, consideration with possible action on a request by State Street Pub of Green Bay LLC at 1238 State Street to amend their liquor license to include an outdoor patio. Staff.
Yes, so per communication from the licensee and the plan submitted for the proposed fence, we actually received photos of the completed fence today. The fence is in compliance with the 6-foot requirement and it's impervious. It's constructed of concrete and wood. Accordingly, staff has no objections as it complies with our ordinance.
Okay, police?
Please concur.
Okay. I was hoping to get the pictures a little earlier. She said she was going to send them, but I guess they're here. So I have no issue with it either. So do we have a
Motion to approve.
motion approved by Stevens? Do we have a second?
Second.
Released. All in favor? Say aye.
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 All opposed? That passes. And by the way, this will go to City Council, and correct me, is that June 2nd? I believe.
Yes, I believe so.
All of these recommendations, this is just the committee, and this will be going to City Hall, City Council on June 2nd at 6 p.m. All right, next we have consideration with possible action on a request by Anduzzi's East Green Bay LLC at 900 Kepler Drive to temporarily extend their licensed premises to the 23rd through the 26th. Staff.
Yes, staff, law department has no objections. I do want to just note for the licensees that they are, as part of their request, they were requesting a permit and variance for the noise ordinance, which the committee doesn't grant. They will just need to submit a request directly to the police department for our ordinances. And I would defer to Lieutenant Mahoney on the remainder.
Okay, Lieutenant Mahoney, could you chime in on this?
Yeah, I read over their security plan, and it's an event they've held multiple times in the past with no issues. So we don't have an issue with them having the event. In terms of the noise, their location there is pretty much right in the middle of the industrial park. There are some residential areas close by, but I can tell you it's never been a problem in the past. So we don't anticipate there being a problem with the noise at all.
Okay, Alderdorf, is that in your district? No, that's close. Okay.
No.
It's not, but I do have a comment.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would just like to commend Anduzzi's on their COVID-19 protocol. I think it's very well done, and I was very happy to see that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that was good. That was very good. Is that something
Ditto
that?
here.
Or go ahead, Alder LaFave.
No, I'd say ditto here. Like
Oh,
you
ditto
said.
here. Okay. I was just wondering what.
It just kicked me out. Just a minute. I forgot how to get back on here.
I'll make a motion to approve.
There.
All right.
Excuse me, can I ask?
Yes.
Go
ahead.
Bad information when we submitted this. On Saturday, can we get the noise ordinance? And I just want to be transparent.
Hold on. We got to hold on.
Open the floor.
We need a motion to open the floor. I'm
Yes, we need
sorry.
a motion to open the floor.
Yes, I know. Okay.
Motion to open the floor.
By Alder Stevens, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vanderleest, all in favor? Aye. All right, sorry about that. I got to be official here. So state your name and address for the record, and then describe that COVID-19. I like the way you put that together as well. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. And my apologies for jumping in
Oh, that's fine.
format. My request is on Saturday.
Pardon, your name and address for the record.
My name is Andy Samansky. My address is 2295 Lost Dolphin Road, De Pere, Wisconsin.
Okay, go ahead, Andy.
All right, thank you. On Saturday, we'd like to amend our request from on the noise ordinance piece of it. And again, I understand that needs to go through the chief, but we're going to amend that to from 11:30 till midnight, just to make sure that we're in compliance with the extension.
What was it originally? What did you want? Pardon?
11:30.
11:30, and you want to go till midnight.
Correct. Correct.
All right. Was there anything else you wanted to add? Speak about the COVID-19. Alderdorf mentioned that, and I agree. That was very well put together, and I was wondering how you put that together.
So a week ago, well, it's been a little more than a week now, and when the restrictions were lifted, we didn't feel like we were in a good place that we could go from complete shutdown to no restrictions for a lot of different reasons, from for us personally as a family, our employees, and then from the general public's perspective. And so we really took some time immediately on Friday, brought together some of the leaders of the organization and tried to vet out of all the different plans that were out there for the municipalities, states, and tried to provide some structure that we felt was reasonable, but still provided the protections based on the information that's being presented to us out there. We're not doctors, or we're not medical experts. We don't know for sure exactly what the best and right things are to do, but we know social distancing is critical, cleanliness is critical. So we tried to take the necessary steps to elevate a couple of those things. Our restaurants have been detailed literally as if they were a brand new restaurant from top to bottom, inside and out, sanitized, sterilized. So we wanted to walk this back up in a safe, responsible, healthy manner. And hopefully we've done that. So that was our intention by doing this.
Well, I think that was very well put together. And I was just wondering, have you talked to the Tavern League about this? I realize we're going through the Brown County Health Department and all that, but I'm just thinking you've talked to other business owners and such this way, and I'm just wondering what their take might be. I know there's many out there, but it would be nice to have some proactive measures coming from the business community to kind of help guide a lot of us. I think this is a good start.
For sure. And I believe Don was the president of the Tavern League and the owner of Richard Cranium. I know he was very involved in trying to make sure that prior to all the restrictions being lifted, working with the health department to try to make a list of recommendations. And really what we've done is we've taken a lot of those recommendations and basically implemented those, because it was already vetting them out already. And we were part of the calls, not only with the Tavern League, but also with the Restaurant Association. And a lot of those were very, very similar and aligned. So that was a lot of where our playbook came from.
Well, we thank you for your efforts on that. And I know that you're in the industrial park. I don't see a whole lot of issue as far as with the noise ordinance. There's, the residents are far enough away, I believe, but I don't know, committee, anybody else from the committee or other alders want to chime in on this? Otherwise, I'll accept the motion.
We do have a motion from Alder Stevens.
Second two, correct?
Second. Val.
Okay. All right. Was there any other comments on this? Otherwise, we'll move forward.
We're all good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We need a motion to close the floor.
Make a motion to close the floor.
Vanderleest and seconded by Lefebvre. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passes. So unanimously. I can't even say it unanimously. Sorry about that. So that will be going to City Council next week, June 2nd. There should be no issue, but there's always a possibility. So that'll be on the agenda for final approval by the council. Thanks, Andy. All right.
We have to take a vote on the motion to accept recommendations.
Okay, I thought we made a motion.
No, we did. We had a motion.
We had the motion, but we didn't vote.
No, there was a vote recorded.
I said all in favor.
There was a vote?
Yes.
Okay. I thought that was for closing. Okay, sorry.
All right.
It's different when you listen on the phone and.
You're fine. Do we have another, can we move forward here?
Yep, we can move on to item number 3.
Okay, number 3, consideration with possible action on a request by Brewski's on Broadway at 1100 South Broadway to temporarily extend their licensed premises on June 20th to their parking lot for a one-day event. Staff.
Law Department has no objection. We would defer to PD.
Okay, police?
The police have no objection. I know in their plan they said they were going to have additional security. I'm just wondering how many additional security. They've had this event in the past and there's been no issues. I just like it on the record how many security they're going to have.
All right. Do we have somebody from Brewski's here today? Anybody from Brewski's here at the meeting? Steve Mahoney?
Yes. I don't know if anyone from...
Let's hold on. I'd like to open the floor first. Motion open the floor.
Hello. Make a motion to open the floor.
Okay, by Lefebvre. Do we have a second? Second by Stevens. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, Mr. Mahoney, are you there?
Yeah, this is Lieutenant Mahoney.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm losing it here. Do we have somebody from Brewski's here?
Hello.
That was my fault. Don't,
Hello.
Johnson, I see you smiling there. That's fine.
I'm
Everything's
here.
good. Long vacation. Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
State your
Okay.
name and address for the record, please.
Pam Carlson, 4762 Maple Drive, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
All right.
We will have additional securities, enough at both two entrances at least. We do have a few outside gardens throughout the year, and we have not had any issues. So
Lieutenant
that's all.
Mahoney,
We're not
you-
serving alcohol. Yeah, we're not serving alcohol outside. It's just more or less
Okay.
for people to carry their drinks outside.
So this is Lieutenant Mahoney. You'll make sure that you'll have a guard at each entrance into the garden outside?
Exactly.
Okay, yep, we're fine.
Okay, thank you. Motion to close the floor. Do we have a motion?
Motion to close the
Motion to
floor.
close the floor.
Stephen, second by LaFave, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? A motion to approve. Do we have a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve.
I'll make a
By
motion.
Stevens and seconded by LaFave,
second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? That passes. Thank you. All right, let me know when you're ready.
Okay, 1 minute, just catching up.
I thought there was another Mahoney out there. 3 days out on a boat really was too much.
The sun will do that to you.
Yeah, well,
Did you get a sunburn?
yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Are
All
we
right,
ready?
we are on to item number 4.
All right, number 4, consideration with possible action on a renewal application for the 2020-2021 license year for confettis at 217 East Walnut Street with a change in the license description. Staff.
Law Department has no objections.
The
Please.
police concur.
Okay. Staff, if there's no other questions, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve.
By Vanderleest, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Stevens, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all
Aye.
opposed? That passes unanimously.
All right, item number 5.
Number 5, consideration with possible action on the renewal applications for various liquor and/or beer licenses for the 2020-2021 license year. See attached.
Staff has no objections.
Police?
The police concur.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
By Stevens, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vanderleest, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. And I'll wait for you, Joanne.
Okay. Item number 6.
All right, 6, a request by Alder Johnson to the Protection and Policy Committee for consideration and possible action on the creation of a click and carry ordinance. Alder Johnson.
Thank you, Alder Steuer. I see that this item was listed right after this. I don't know why it was like just, I guess, dispose of one of these and move to the other.
That was my first reaction too.
Right. Our recommendation, since Alder Johnson wanted us to bring forth an ordinance and an ordinance had already been previously drafted, we elected to just put the ordinance for efficiency's sake instead of having to bring it back to committee at the next meeting. We placed it on the agenda. So the recommendation would either be to refer this item to staff or receive and place on file.
So receive and place on
I have a
file.
question.
Alder Steuer, and we'll just move on to the next one.
All right, what was,
I'll make a motion to receive and place on file.
all right, do we have a second?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Alder LaFave.
Okay, the click and carry, is that where they call in and then they go and can pick it up? I just want to make sure what click and carry means.
Well, we'll be discussing that in the next item. So yeah, that's more or less,
Okay.
yes, we'll be discussing that. All right, so we had a motion to receive and place on file and a second. All in favor?
I'm sorry, who was the
Aye.
second? We had the motion by Alder Stevens and the second was?
Second by
Second it.
by Vanderleest. By
Okay, thank
Vanderleest.
you.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 And all opposed, that passes unanimously. So let me know when you're ready.
All right, item number 6.
Okay, would that be 7?
Or yes, I'm sorry, 7. Looking at
Okay.
6, thinking 7.
All right. Consideration with possible action on General Ordinance 13-20 and ordinance creating Section 33.08, subsection 7, subsection I, Green Bay Municipal Code relating to online ordering and curbside pickup of alcohol beverages. So, Alder Johnson, if
Alder
you...
LaFave. Alder LaFave wants to speak.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Isn't this the third time this is coming up? We already voted this down twice. Definitely against it.
Well, I'm
sorry, I don't want this.
Okay, I know we've talked about that before, but Alder Johnson brought up another issue with this, and I'd like him to speak on it, and we can discuss accordingly. So, okay. Alder Johnson?
But I don't know. That's you. I just think it's a new council, and sometimes policies need to be revisited. And so I'm looking for us to revisit this particular policy. I had asked City Attorney Bungert to basically just bring back as a starting point the same ordinance that had been proposed during the last session. I think it's a good ordinance. I think it hits all of the safeguards that we need as a community. I think this notion or this opposition that we've had to it, that it continues to propagate more drinking in our community, is really a faulty one. I've never seen any type of data or research that supports that claim. All we're doing here is really adapting to be with the times. Online grocery shopping is a thing, and it's a thing that's here to stay. And I think particularly with respect to the COVID-19 virus, it's put people in a position where we've adopted the way that we do business in a lot of different capacities. And this one in particular, we've seen it. We've seen a number of online services that have really propagated over the last couple of months. I mean, to the point where sometimes you put in an order and it's a week before it can even be fulfilled. So clearly there's a heightened sense of demand, a shift in the marketplace. You're seeing this type of disruption occur with a number of things, and I think online grocery shopping is no different. It's all these people are doing is really being able to receive all of the products that they order at their vehicle. That's it. This isn't creating any easier access point for the purchase of alcohol. Everybody needs to be. There are safeguards outlined in the ordinance that ensure that all the requirements are being met. I don't know what the passage of this ordinance, I don't know how this makes our community any more susceptible to illegal activity than what we currently have in place. If I can see, something that can certainly make that case, let's talk about it. But I've yet to see anything that suggests that any type of illegal activity occurs with these types of ordinances in other communities. And then, certainly there's always that chance, that opportunity. I understand that. But that's the case with everything in life, right? There's a chance that people might speed. It doesn't mean that we don't let people drive cars. It means that you put in the proper ordinances to control and enforce those types of illegal activities. And so this to me is no different. This is about a community modifying, becoming relevant with current market conditions. And I implore the committee to pass this, and let's just take it up at council.
All right. Can you hold on, Alder LaFave? Alder Dorf wants to say something, and I'll let you speak. Go ahead, Alder Dorf.
Hi, thank you. So I had put in a very similar communication, and then I had Alder Johnson had so eloquently put in his communication that I said I would just accept his communication on this. Absolutely, I agree with everything Alder Johnson said. I've heard from citizens in my district that it has made it, they feel in peril of their safety because everything else that they want to get, they can get at curbside. This they cannot get at curbside. Therefore, they have to go into a store, or as one of them chose to do, drive out of our community of Green Bay, go up to Howard Swamico and do the click and carry up there, Festival of Foods up there. We don't want to lose the business from the Green Bay community. So I am very, very, committee will consider passing it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Alder Dorf. Alder LaFave?
Problem I have with this is that when they drive up, the person has to verify that they're not drunk. Okay, you tell me that you can always tell that somebody is not over the limit, and then they're going to drive away. Okay. Into the store, there's more telltale signs that you can tell whether they're over the limit. I am completely against this. I'm sorry. Alcohol is not a necessity unless you are a drunk. I'm sorry. If it becomes a necessity, it means that you are drinking too much. If it becomes a necessity. I don't know. I will not vote for this. I think it's different. They can see. And on University Avenue, I told you there's how many opportunities for them to get a drink, to get something to drink. They don't have to drive up and get it. They can go to somewhere else where there's not many people. They can go in and get it. And I with groceries, that's fine. This is not a grocery. Really, it should not be a grocery item. I'm really upset that grocery stores are selling it too, because now it's becoming too numerous. So no, I will not vote for this. Sorry.
Alder, can I ask a question? Alder?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alder LaFave, I'm curious because there seems to be this assumption that when people order their groceries online and show up to pick them up, that they're drunk. I'm just curious.
No, not groceries. No, not groceries. No, come on. I'm not talking about groceries. I'm talking about alcohol.
That's what this is. People order groceries online. They can't pick up our alcoholic purchases, but they pick up all their other groceries, but they can't pick this up. This is
That's
part of an
because
overall.
groceries are a necessity. Food is a necessity. Alcohol, I'm sorry, is not a necessity. I'm sorry.
Right, but they're purchasing this when they purchase the groceries. Just curious if there's a problem in our community where people are drunk and shopping for groceries, where that would carry over into this particular situation. And if we've got people driving drunk, I mean, that's a whole other problem in itself, is it not?
Well, all right. Alder Scannell.
That is a problem.
We'll keep this going. Alder Scannell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This has like the third time this has come, and I've been supporting it all along. I think this is and I think COVID-19 has just bumped us that much quicker into the future. And online shopping is going to be more and more prevalent. And yes, there's always going to be problems when it comes to alcohol. You're not going to evade problems. You're going to have problems. It's how you're going to address them and how you're going to deal with it. As Alder Johnson had said earlier, I really don't think the risks here are any greater than any other way of getting alcohol. I appreciate that Alder LaFave, she's probably never going to sign on to this, and that's fine. I understand where she's coming from. But for me, this is just practical. And alcohol is not an illegal beverage. It is something that should be, we should be facilitating its dispense of in a responsible way. I think that Alder LaFave, she's being responsible. I think the rest of us who support this think we're being responsible. And I don't know that we're ever going to really cross that bridge together. But I really think that this is the future, and this is a practical way to address people purchasing alcohol. So I've been supporting this, and I continue to support this.
Okay. Thank you, Alder Scannell. Alder Gerlach, did you want to say something?
Sure. I just wanted to say that I'm normally a very cautious person, and this is the kind of thing I would think through very little faith is doing. But I've read the ordinance. I was impressed at how comprehensive and detailed and very carefully thought out. And I agree with Alder Johnson. I will support this at council.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask Attorney Bungert, how, or one of the council members, if anybody knows, how many other communities surrounding Green Bay have this click and carry? What other communities have this? Can anybody help me on that?
I do know that Appleton does. I'm not sure if De Pere does. It sounds like Howard Swamico does. I know that it is popping up in pretty much all surrounding communities.
Right. Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I thought De Pere did.
Okay.
They do.
Committee.
De
All
Pere
right.
does. I just got
All right.
confirmation that De Pere does.
Thank you. Committee, anybody on committee would like to chime in on this? Okay, well, I can't remember. I think I might have been against this initially, but, it is the way things are going. Shopping. In fact, I shop. I stopped and have my groceries delivered to the car, and it would be a convenience type of thing. So I don't see a tremendous problem with it either. I feel that that's the way things are going. People shop, and the pandemic has caused this to kind of speed up, as Alder Scannell said. So I'm in favor of this. So I would entertain a motion and less discussion.
I entertain a motion to approve.
Tell you what,
Yes?
we just call back in the.
Alder Stoyer, it looks like Alder Vanderlee stepped away for a minute.
Oh, I see.
We do still have quorum. Oh, no, he's back.
Here he
Okay.
is.
All right.
All
All right,
right.
thank you.
You
So that was
can't
a motion
escape.
to
Okay.
approve by, that was a motion to approve by
Uh,
Alder Stevens.
That's
Yes,
correct.
and do we have a second? I'll
I'll
second.
second it. I'll
Okay.
second it.
We'll do Alder Vanderleest for a second. All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, 3-1.
All right, so I'll just do a roll call vote since it was not unanimous. Alder Stevens,
Yes.
Alder Vanderleest,
Aye.
Alder Stoyer,
Yes.
and Alder LaFave.
No.
All right. That passes 3-1. With Alder LaFave voting no.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yep, we are on item number 8.
All right, number 8, consideration with possible action on a resolution adopting the City of Green Bay records and retention schedule. Staff.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to introduce you, but
Oh, okay, go
take
ahead.
it away.
Go ahead, Attorney Mather. Go ahead.
Good afternoon,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good afternoon.
So a project very long in the making. We have finally come to you with a complete version of the records retention schedule. This was created, and just for context, I think I've explained this before, but just to provide full background for everybody. This was created using a municipal general records schedule that the State Public Records Board had created, which covered a lot of the types of records that municipalities traditionally keep, which had not been previously covered by other statewide schedules. We did still have to use some of the other statewide schedules to fill in some of the gaps that were not covered by the municipal schedule, such as the risk categories and IT and a couple other things in a couple other places. The version attached to the resolution is the master version, for lack of a better term. That is the comprehensive version that contains all of the record series for all of the records that are or may be kept by the city. We will be doing individual department specific trainings, and the idea is that the individual departments will be able to take this master document and make it more user friendly based on what the needs of their actual departments are. So for example, the link, the descriptions that are on the schedule may be removed if everybody in the department knows what those kinds of records are, or maybe a couple of the types of records listed aren't kept by that department, so they may be able to shorten the list for themselves, those kinds of things. But the law department will be working directly with the individual departments to kind of make that happen. It's super long, I know. If anybody has any questions about any individual schedules, I'm happy to answer them. That's kind of the super broad overview of it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Alder LaFave.
Yes, I have a resident who did an open records request, and he has not received anything back. I want to know, this goes back to 1973, between the Army Corps of Engineers and the city. Would that be something I would think would be attained?
As far as dates, are you talking about records that are 30, 40 years old?
Right, pertaining to that, right. Okay. This is for the attorney.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure. Well, Attorney Bungert actually does all of our open records requests. So I'm not particularly sure of the details of that specific request. I will say that and I apologize for not including it for comparison. The current version of our records retention schedule has some different retention times. So some records currently may be kept for more or less time. In most cases, more time. So I don't know which types of records specifically may or may not be kept for the time period that you're looking for. But that would be something that, as Attorney Bungert and the staff in our office are going through the records request, they would be looking for whether we still have those records. Certain records are kept permanently, some are not. But
actually, I think he put the request into DPW. To Steve Heckenleibel.
Yes, so I can chime in.
Okay.
This is a little bit off topic, but it is just to answer your question quickly. If the request was submitted to DPW, certain departments do handle their own public records request, and others do forward that processing to our department. I'm not aware of that particular request, but essentially records requests get processed accordingly. If the records are available, they are produced. If not, then the requester receives a response that there are no records requested.
Should I have them actually send on that request to you?
If that request was submitted to DPW, it can be handled accordingly.
Okay.
We can also talk about this. I can reach out to you, Alder LaFave, after the meeting. Okay.
Yeah, let's.
Sure.
Okay, is that good? All right. Thank you. Alder Dorf.
I just wanted to clarify, this is a request from 1973?
That's what it sounded like.
Yes,
so
it was the...
doesn't it say 20 years?
40 or 50.
Does it say they're retained for 20 years? For 50 they're retained. I was just looking at the new ordinance or the new.
I don't think it was that.
I saw 20 years in here somewhere. So here, well, it's in a lot of places, but I don't know. It just seems like 50 years ago they might not still have it. But never mind. That's not.
Yeah, that's something we can follow up with individually as far as what is the. Sorry.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's get back to the agenda. You can deal with that, Alder LaFave, with the law department. You can work that out.
Sure.
Is there anybody from the committee that has any points on this? I read through some of it.
Question, Mark. Walter
yes, go ahead.
I just want to know: are they retaining the records on a microfiche, or are they trying to reduce paper quantity and things like that? So is it going to be done with a microfiche? That's my only question, just how they're storing them.
Okay.
Sure. So this is part of a much larger project with respect to the records that the city keeps. This particular step is just setting out the time limits that we have to keep records for. But we are moving toward finding ways to reduce the amount of paper records that we do have. But there are a couple different considerations that we have to consider as we go through that process, not the least of which is cost, because it is expensive to get the records scanned in a way that is searchable, which is required by the Public Records Board. So we are working toward it, and I've been working with Celestine, the mayor's chief of staff, to make some progress on that. But it's still an ongoing effort.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you very much. It sounds like you're on the right track there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Attorney Mather, I was going to ask, I mean, so when did this initially come forward? When was the discussion to tighten this up?
Before I started here, which was a year ago.
Because we just haven't had, it's been a little disorganized since, hasn't it? So you were just trying to finalize this and try to tighten this up as much as possible?
Yeah, so in late 2018 is when the Public Records Board came out with the municipal records schedule. So up until that time, we had to fill in a lot of the gaps on our own. And I say we, but the city. I wasn't here, but since that schedule was passed, the city's goal has been to incorporate that municipal schedule into our current schedule, and that was one of my the projects that was given to me when I started, and so it only took a year, guys.
Very comprehensive. Very good job.
Thank you.
I have another question.
Go ahead, Alder LaFave.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, I missed that part with Alder Dorf said it was 20 years retention. Wouldn't there be some things that would be held a lot longer, because it could be 20, 30 years down. There could be a legal situation that comes up.
There are a lot of different lengths of time for which various records are to be kept, and some records are to be kept permanently. So it really just depends on the type of record, and those decisions are made by the Public Records Board and not by the city, although I should say that the retention times in this record schedule are floors. So you can go longer and still be in compliance with what the Public Records Board has said is permissible under state law. We just can't go shorter. So if any of the particular series listed here, the council agrees that it should be longer, that is something that an amendment could be offered. But that's the decision of the committee and council. But yes, Alder LaFave, to answer your question, there are some records that are kept permanently.
Does that help?
Right.
Okay. Alder Scannell.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alder Scannell.
I'm pretty sure, at least it used to be, I thought city records, once we got rid of them, what we did is we handed those over to the library, the public library, I thought, and then they shifted through them and kept what they thought was relevant. And then I don't know if that's still a process, but I thought that was true at one time.
So the actually the last column on the schedule that's in the agenda packet is the WHS notification, which is the Wisconsin Historical Society. So before we as a city can get rid of any of the records that we keep, if I shouldn't say any records, any record that on this document says notify, before we can get rid of those types of records, we do have to let the Wisconsin Historical Society know and offer them the opportunity to collect those documents. If they decline to do so, then we can destroy them, but not before. We do have to offer them. If it says waived in that column, then obviously we don't have to offer it. The ones that say not applicable are only because we have to keep those records permanently.
Okay. All right. Alder Stevens. Thank you. Alder Stevens.
Thank you, Attorney Mather. I make a motion to adopt the following list that we all see.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? That passes unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, let me know when you're ready.
Yep, we are on to item number 9.
Okay. Alder Brunette to the Protection and Policy Committee for consideration with possible action on allowing the public to address the City Council on non-agenda items at each full common council meeting. For example, this could be to allow up to 3 or 5 minutes per speaker, which was referred back to the Protection and Policy Committee at the May 19th Common Council meeting. This was brought forward by Alder Burnett. Any leading initial, Burnett?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. As you remember, this was referred back from our last city council meeting for more, robust discussion at the committee level. There were a few concerns at the full city council meeting, and I would say there were 2 main concerns. One is having staff work on a plan or an ordinance, a resolution, whatever it would be, without having the council approve it. And then second is the idea itself. And so out of respect, I agreed to send it back to for more of a discussion. And since then, my opinion on the issue has actually gotten even more bold because I think it's a great idea. One of the things I've looked up is municipalities who do this. What does their policy look like? And is it simple enough that we could easily adopt it with the city of Green Bay? And the answer I found was yes. For example, the city of Bloomington, just a little southeast of us, they have a policy that I found on their website. It's only a page. So their entire policy and how to allow the public to address their on non-agenda items. They've hashed out many of the concerns that individual alders had when we discussed it at the full city council meeting at your last committee meeting. So one of their ideas, what they do is in order to limit the amount of comments at the very front of their meeting, they limit the first part of the public information for non-agenda items, public input rather, they limit that to 20 minutes. And then later on, if there are still people who want to speak, they allow up to 25 minutes at the end of the meeting to allow for more public input. So it's very good. I mean, basic stuff. And I see absolutely no reason why the city of Green Bay could not adopt this so that from the public, we could allow the public to address us on non-agenda items. It encourages more public and more robust public engagement of us as a city council. And I also looked at the Wisconsin, well, you may have gotten this, the Wisconsin municipalities. Obviously, we all know this is allowed in Wisconsin as well. So I'm in favor of it. There are a few ideas I have that we could take the Bloomington, Indiana policy and just make it a little more relatable to Green Bay in our unique situation for a city of our size. One thing that we could do too is for folks who address us, if we're concerned that they're going to come before the full council and bring up an issue, then not hear back from the city, we could put as part of our city policy that our the mayor's community relations assistant reach out to that person after the meet, like a day or two after the meeting. So I'd be more than happy to discuss this more after the other alders have an opportunity to weigh in. I could go through the bullet by bullet point and some of the ideas that Blue has adopted. So with that, I just want to say I'm fully in support of it. And after the discussion, what would make me happy is an agenda or a motion to refer this to staff to work with Alderman Burnett to work on a path forward. Honestly, this will not take more than an hour of staff time. I mean, really, I can't imagine if we look at the Bloomington policy and adjust it a little bit for Green Bay and do a quick consultation with the Wisconsin League of Municipalities, as far that should not be an argument used. The argument that could be used against this was that people just don't think it's a good idea. I disagree with that. I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alder Burnett. Alder Stevens.
I have a question for Jesse, Alder.
Yes.
You're talking about Bloomington. When you did your research, is there any cities in the state of Wisconsin that have adopted this?
Bloomington
not county level, but city levels.
No, I didn't. I consulted a little bit with the written information I have with the Wisconsin League of Municipalities, where it clearly says that it is allowed and that it's permissible. I understand
it's allowed.
Yeah, I haven't looked that far. I just came across Bloomington and realized a quick internet search says yes, there's a city that does it, and it's.
Maybe the attorney knows.
She might.
Attorney Bunger?
Actually, attorney. Yep. There you go. This is Attorney Chavez. I know that there are a number of municipalities who do this within the city or within the state of Wisconsin. So yes, it's not a new concept. And those are the ones that we were originally looking at, which I recommended that whatever ultimately gets decided, that it would be referred to staff so that we can put together the proper procedures to govern this and make sure that everything is not only up to date with the current issues with changes and not just to public meetings, but also really jives with what the First Amendment requires from both the public officials who are attending the meeting and staff members and the public members who are speaking. I do know that there have been a number of questions that have arisen regarding not the actual policy itself, but the research pertaining to what issues need to be addressed and who's doing this, what issues are they running into, things like that. And so if there's still hesitations, my recommendation would be that this be sent to staff to do that research preliminarily so that at least when we bring it back to you, those questions start. So if you guys are okay with it, I'd recommend a referral to staff to answer all your questions, and then we would take questions from anybody either tonight, or actually it's not tonight, it's middle of the day for a change. So either today or they get emailed to us. We would work on addressing those as well.
Thank you, Attorney Chavez.
Alderman Dave here.
Alderman Lefebvre, go ahead.
Yes, I'm definitely in favor of this, and I thank Jesse Alder Burnett for bringing this up and doing some research on this. As I said, the county's done this for years, and it doesn't cause any problems. The thing that I think that people are forgetting, I know Alderdorf has brought up, well, people call their aldermen, but some things are actually more citywide. This is a thing for all of us to hear certain issues. Something might come up that it would also affect your district, but the person lives in another district who brought it up. And good for all of us. And it just makes us more open to the public more willing to feel comfortable with us making decisions, that they can come and they can speak about an issue that they have and feel like they're being listened to. So I definitely support this. And I think, yes, staff should look into it, make sure that it's comparable to other cities and what would work good for us. And we've never had any issues on the county board with it. If somebody gets out of line, that's the duty of, well, this would be the mayor on the county. It's the chairman. They control the meetings, and they would make sure that this is done properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Alder Vanderleest, you're on the county board. How did you feel about this?
I would make a motion that we refer it to staff so we can get the ball rolling as far as, so we can adopt it at the city council level. That would be my motion, that we refer it to staff so that we can get it approved. I support it 100%.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, but before we vote, Alder Scannell.
I'd just like to throw in that well, first I'd like to know, before I get behind this or not, if I could know what is the motivation for this? Are we input from the community that they feel they're disconnected from us, that they need to connect, that they need to address us, is there a problem here that we're solving, is what I'd like to know.
Well, I know Alder Burnett brought this up, and he had a constituent that came forward to him, so I don't know if it's widespread throughout the city, but Alder Burnett, would you care to speak to that?
Just a idea that I've been having in my head for quite a while. I remember a time on the county board, it worked well. A gentleman from the community reached out to me and asked if the city had ever done it, and that's what I'm doing here. So no, I just think it's a good idea. I love hearing from the public. I love giving people the opportunity to address us. There are a lot of contentious issues and a lot of not contentious issues where a member of the community can come forward with an idea or a concern they have. And I think sometimes we think to the absolute worst, like, oh my gosh, what if someone comes and we're going to hear the absolute worst, profane, erratic behavior. And that just simply hasn't been my experience. I can only recall in my entire 8 years in public office, dealing with the public, anyone losing their temper or acting in an erratic behavior no more than 5 times. And I don't recall it ever happening during a public. The idea I have is just an additional way. There's so many members of our community. I think sometimes we forget, as alders, we're connected, we're in the know. We've been up for election. We know how to navigate City Hall. We understand the ins and outs of committee. We understand who to go to if there's an issue. I think there are members of the public, especially newer people to the community, that don't have the knowledge of local government to the level that we do. So it's an opportunity for them to come to us in a way to engage civically, and knowing the council and knowing the professionals that we have, no doubt about it. I think anytime the public can engage us and we could, hear what they have to say, I think it's a good thing. And there, don't get me wrong, Alder Scannell, there are things that the alders brought up at the public meeting or the full council meeting about a week ago that are really good points. Like, oh my gosh, what if someone comes to us and says all kinds of things and we cannot engage them? We can't respond to what they say. There are through this policy, there's a way to navigate that we can simply say, we can post, this is the city's policy, that you come to us and you address these concerns, you let us know what you want us to know. And then if the chair and the council can't respond, then that's what I said, my idea, to have the mayor's community relations assistant reach out to that person. It's just civic engagement. That's all it is.
Yep. Okay, well, I would just like everyone.
I'm sorry, Alder Lefebvre. Go ahead, Alder Scannell. You can retort.
I'll wait.
Go ahead.
I just wanted, before going forward, I needed to know what the motivation was behind it, and it sounds like it's for civic engagement. And I'm at 6s and 7s with this. I believe there are many platforms for civic engagement now more than ever. And there's emails and there's phones and there's face-to-face. And I've never had a situation where, there's been a dearth of a problem with communicating with city government. In some ways, I like to see our committees and our council just focus on city business. I think sometimes as a council, we get a little off track and we get up on a soapbox. And I think our committees and our council, it may not be a bad idea if we could just focus on business. Like I said, I'm at 6s and 7s. I appreciate the civic component and everything. I'm just not sure that not adding this extra platform is really a benefit. I really like the idea of sticking to city business during committees and during council. And this is just for council, not committees, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not totally, I understand where you're coming from. I'm not totally opposed to it. I appreciate it. I'm just not convinced it's not necessary. There isn't a need, apparently. No one's knocking on our door saying they can't get a hold of us with an idea or a complaint or anything. So it's just kind of an extra platform. So I don't know.
We got a couple more folks that want to chime in here.
Yep.
Alderdorf, thanks. Alder Scannell. Alderdorf.
Thank you. Well, I think that Alder Burnett is responding well to a request that he's on his Facebook page, and that's where I had seen it come from. And I see the person that made the request is actually in our meeting right now. I really believe that if a concern rises to the level of needing to be heard by the common, it should go through the accepted and the established protocols that we have in place. I heard many times the word engage being used. They can't engage us. They can talk at us, because if it is listed on the agenda, we can't discuss it. It has to be posted for us to discuss it. I don't see the benefit of a citizen coming all the way to the meeting to talk at us and to get absolutely no satisfaction when they can simply call, email, Facebook, Twitter, whatever they want to do. There's many ways they can get our attention. And I agree with Alder Scannell that we need to stick to city business. It just can't be something that it is a whim that someone just wants to talk about. Maybe it would be appropriate city business. Then go through the protocols, go through the procedures, and let's establish it as city business. So I'm still very much against open.
Alder Stoyer, sorry to jump in really quickly before
we already have one way. So.
We do, Alder Stoyer, we do have a constituent that has notified that he would like
to.
So if once the alders are done with their discussion, we can open the floor.
All right, entertain a motion.
I had a question.
I think Alder Stevens wanted to speak, so.
Okay, Alder Stevens, go ahead, and then we'll open the floor. Go ahead.
So this might be for Attorney Chavez. I have a question though. So I'm on the fence. I'll say I'm on the fence on this one here. But Attorney Chavez, if this was to be forwarded to you, I know that you guys have a pretty list of current items that need to be done on turn to protection policy for review. 6 months, 8 months from now? Attorney Chavez?
It ultimately just depends on what is on our workload.
I know you have a list of items that you're currently working on. The reason why I ask, we have one person that brought this forward. If it's coming back to us in 6 months, we have a whole city that could reach out to every alders and get their opinions on if they like this.
That's a possibility. We have somebody in the audience.
Personally, nobody's reached out to me regarding this item, so.
I don't think nobody's reached to me either, but like I said, we're listening to dialogue from two of our committee members that are on the county, and they said that so. The motion to open the floor.
But I understand that the county has it, but we also have to think of it as a city level, not counties.
Well, that's true. All right, I'd like the public to be able to chime in on this. Do we have a motion to open the floor? Okay, by Stevens. We have a second by Alder Vanderleest.
That's correct.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right, sir, state your name and address for the record and then go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mark Zahn. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. And
okay.
Your address?
My name is Mark Zahn. My address is 1100 Chantel Street, Green Bay.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm the person that initially had commented on Facebook to Alder Brunette about this. It was what it was related to. But just a little background on why the idea had come out is I had previously, about 10 years ago, been on the video crew for the Appleton and Menasha City Council meetings. And in my experience working with those meetings, I do remember always having a section of time that was specifically put aside for citizens to be able to come up and speak to the council at large on issues. Since it had been 10 years ago, I did talk to my advisor from UW Fox, who I worked with on that, to just refresh my memory on exactly how that worked. Worked with Appleton, Nina, Fox Crossing, and Menasha doing their video meetings. And he had given me some more background generally on how all of those communities have some sort of what they call a public forum, which is time set aside at the beginning of the meeting. And I could run through a couple of points with you on what he had refreshed me on, if that's appropriate. Or otherwise.
If you can do it like in 3 minutes, that would be great. Go ahead.
Yeah. So mentioned that that they do make it something that where you would speak on something. I wasn't remembering whether that was the case or not. But other guidelines that they have, there's a time limit for each speaker. There's a your name and address, and identify yourself at the podium. There's no prohibition about people from outside the municipality speaking. Business owners may not live in a municipality, but are important members of the community in a different way and should be heard on important topics. This must be directed to the chair of the meeting. You can't use the forum to promote a political candidate, even if that is yourself. You typically have a time limit, and the gallery is not allowed to react and so forth. So those are some of the general things. The reason that I had mentioned this to him, and I didn't really advocate for this to become a thing, I just was asking more as an informational thing, is I think it had been mentioned that, there's all these different avenues for us to address our city council, but that's the assumption that as a citizen, you are being listened to by your alderperson. And in the district that I live in, there has been, both to myself and a number of other people, very demonstrated, it's been very much demonstrated by our aldermen that we are not being listened to, that we will only be listened to if you agree with their position. And that has become a problem that I'm hoping in some way, whether it's this or it's in some other way, can be addressed. So that's just kind of why I had initially brought that up.
Okay. Alder Dorf, do you have a question for Mr. Zahn?
Mr. Zahn, did I hear you say that what you found were able to speak to only items that were already on the agenda?
Yes, that's why I wanted to get my memory refreshed, because it had been 10 years since I had been on these video crews, by my advisor who heads up all these other meetings. And he had informed me that those 4 municipalities, that they did require it to be items on the agenda.
Thank you for that clarification. And we actually do allow that. We just don't lump it all together at the beginning. Anyone can ask for the floor to be opened at any time on any item on our agendas. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have a question for Mr. Zahn? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Zahn.
Thank you.
A motion to close the floor. Do we have a motion?
Motion to close the floor.
By Alder Stevens. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Attorney Bungert, we had a motion and a second. Can you refresh me on that?
Yes, 1 second. I jotted that down. That was a motion to refer to staff by Alder Vanderleest, seconded by Alder LaFave.
Okay.
Can I speak?
Okay, one more time and then we're going to vote. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to also, Alderdorf had mentioned something about, if they come forward, they can talk about something that's not on the agenda, and that's all they get to do. No, what has happened at the county board, it actually happens where there's a late communication. Someone will say, oh, that's a good idea. It needs to be discussed at committee level. We will, they make a late communication. So this can very well happen where then that item that was brought forward by someone from the public that we thought about, no one was contacted on, that this is something important, and they will put in a late communication, and then it goes to a committee where it is discussed. I think that's a very good idea. But then I'd like to make a suggestion. What the county is doing now, because of the way our meetings are, they're not open, where other, like for the committees, exactly, it's a little different, but also for the council. Now, when you're on Zoom, you got a kind of a time limit. You don't want to go too long. So for the county, I forgot what the name is. Anyway, they said that what we should do is limit that. We should go to email. We don't have them timing in on it's on Cisco WebEx. What they do is they email it to the county office, their questions or their comments. Then they send it out to all of the supervisors. We get an email with what the person had wanted to comment on, and then we can act on that.
Alder LaFave, that can be all discussed if this moves forward. That can all be put into that. So.
Well, I want to know if the attorneys think that would be that kind of changes a little bit to how we run this. So they could just talk about that too.
They could talk. I'm sure they could talk about that. Like I said, if this is referred back to staff, they will be discussing that. So, all right, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor of this motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Do we have any opposed? Alder Stevens?
Go forward.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. We all said aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that passes. All right. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, we are on to the liquor violation report.
Okay, Lieutenant Mahoney, liquor violation report.
During this time frame, we had one citation issued to an establishment that wasn't following their stipulation agreement in reference to videos. And then we also had a property referral.
Okay. All right. Anything else? I would entertain a motion to receive this and place on file.
Receive and place in file.
By Alder Stevens, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vanderleest. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? A motion to adjourn. To refresh our next meeting, just to double check, could you, Attorney Bungert, could you please state that again?
Yes, would we be able to, did we vote on the adjournment? My connection cut out momentarily. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to find out when our next meeting would be.
Okay, so our next meeting is June 8th, and that'll be at 1 p.m.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, I would have someone make a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
By Stevens, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by LaFave, all in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you all for attending.